দেখা প্রাণের কথা সে কি ভোলা যায়। In 1883, Rabindranath married Bhavatarini Devi. Her name was later changed to Mrinalini. Soon after their wedding, Rabindranath moved to Shilaidaho, now in Bangladesh, at his father's instruction to look after their family estate. Rabindranath, hitherto a city lad, got his first exposure of rural Bengal and truly immersed himself in her beauty. He lived primarily on the bank of the river Padma, often in a houseboat, where he created many of his iconic short stories, essays, and poems. This solitude drew him very close to nature and the spirit of human life. Much later, in his Nobel Prize acceptance speech in Stockholm, Sweden in May 1921, Tagore said, "In that solitude, I seem to have drunk in the open space like wine overflowing with sunshine, and the murmur of the river used to speak to me and tell me the secrets of nature." Our next offering is again a Tagore composition, now sung by Subhashree Chatterjee, and to which Debarati Dev will dance. Shubhankar Chaudhary plays the tabla. The song is Mor Bina Uthe Kon Shure Baj.
আশে কোন তরুণ আশা 1903, Governor General Lord Curzon decided to partition the state of Bengal into two provinces, a Muslim majority, East Bengal, and a Hindu majority, West Bengal. His aim was to divide and conquer and stave off a united challenge against the British. Rabindranath vehemently opposed this plan and composed some rousing songs which were sung in processions throughout Bengal, many times with the poet in the lead. When the plan was implemented, on October 15, 1905, Tagore protested again with a novel Rakhi Bandhan song that was sung all over Calcutta with Hindus and Muslims tying Rakhi to each other. In 1901, Rabindranath Tagore received a small piece of land from his father in a very rural area called Bolpur in the Birbhum district of what is now known as West Bengal. There was only one house there at that time, named Shantiniketan, or Abode of Peace. Tagore decided to start a children's school there. He found the system of education to be overly restrictive, robbing children of their innate creativity. He felt that the rigidity of the system crushes the joy and freedom of learning. Tagore loved children, and his deep affinity to nature led him to encourage children to grow and learn in communion with nature. With a great deal of assistance from his wife, Mrinalini Devi, Tagore founded the school. Shantiniketan did not have any boundaries. It was a seamless entity, harmonious with nature. Even today, a visitor to this place will be pleasantly surprised by the openness of the campus. Tagore thoroughly enjoyed his association with the children of Shantiniketan. In front of the Nobel Committee in Sweden, he fondly remembered his initial experience as follows. I taught the children and tried to make them happy. I was their playmate. I was their companion. I shared their life, and I felt that I was the biggest child of the party. And we all grew up together in this atmosphere of freedom. Freedom for Rabindranath was much more expansive than just political, economic, or social. It was the freedom of the mind that he never was tired of expressing. In much celebrated poem that you will now hear in Bengali and English, we find a sublime prayer on freedom. This poem is going to be presented by Shankar Bhaumik in Bengali and John McDonnell in English.
চিত্ত যেথা ভয় শূন্য উচ্চ যেথা শির জ্ঞান যেথা মুক্ত যেথা গৃহের প্রাচীর আপন প্রাঙ্গণ তলে দিবস সর্বরি বসুধারে রাখে নাই খণ্ড ক্ষুদ্র করি যেথা বাক্য হৃদয়ের উৎস মুখ হতে উচ্ছ্বসিয়া ওঠে যেথা নির্বারিত স্রোতে দেশে দেশে দিশে দিশে কর্মধারা ধায় অজস্র সহস্রবিধ চরিতার্থতায় যেথা তুচ্ছ আচারের মরুবালু রাশি বিচারের স্রোতপথ ফেলে নাই গ্রাসী পৌরুষেরে করেনি শতধা নিত্য যেথা তুমি সর্বকর্ম চিন্তা আনন্দের নেতা নিজ হস্তে নির্দয় আঘাত করি পিত ভারতের সেই স্বর্গে করজাগরিত
In 1911, a British educator and painter named William Rothenstein was traveling in India. Although he did not meet Rabindranath in person, he became familiar with his literary work through other members of the Tagore family. Rothenstein sent a personal message to Tagore requesting him to translate some of his works in English. In early 1912, Tagore became ill and he was slowly recovering in Shilaidaho estate. He felt unable to begin anything anew and instead started translating some of his poems. This is how the Shilaidaho house looks now. This is the very same armchair where he first started translating some of his poems of Gitanjali as he was recovering. In June 1912, Rabindranath travelled to England. Rothenstein was his host and he invited noted English poets and other personalities to his house on July 12, 1912 for an informal reading by Tagore of his translations. William Butler Yeats, Ezra Pound, and Charlie Andrews were among the attendees in that gathering. The poetry reading took place in 1912 in the second floor of this house located in Hampstead, London. This house is today recognized as a site of historical significance by the British government. Tagore called the yet-to-be-published collection of poems Gitanjali, or song offerings. Very promptly, in less than a month in fact, the poems permeated the literary circle in Britain. They created quite a stir. In November 1912, Tagore travelled from England to the United States. His first trip to America to spend time with his son and daughter-in-law. His son was studying agricultural technology at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. Tagore was staying in this house in Urbana, Illinois. He completed his internationally celebrated Gitanjali, or song offerings, in the United States before it was published in England by Macmillan and Company in March 1913. Between March and November in 1913, this book was reprinted 10 times. During his first trip to the United States, Tagore gave several invited lectures in Chicago and other cities. Rabindranath returned to India on September 13, 1913. On November 13, 1913, while he was in Shantiniketan amongst his students, he received the news via telegram that he was the recipient of the 1913 Nobel Prize in Literature. It was a proud moment not only for him, but for the students, but also for the students and teachers in the school he helped create against so many odds. It is only appropriate to ask, what is the legacy of Gitanjali? After having read the verses of the original and yet unpublished Gitanjali, William Butler Yeats, the English poet, wrote, "These prose translations from Rabindranath Tagore have stirred my blood as nothing has for years. Andre Gide in France, Ivo Storniolo in Portugal, Suko Watanabe in Japan promptly translated Gitanjali in their languages. The Portuguese translator wrote, 'Gitanjali is to be read a little at a time, tallying each moment the poetic and mystic perception of the author with life's experience.' Between 1914 and 1918, Europe was in turmoil due to the proliferation of World War I and the resulting loss of human lives. Needless to say, Tagore was distressed by the war and his expectations of Europe were marginalized by this war. In India, the struggle for independence was gradually gaining steam. In March 1919, the draconian Rowlatt Act was passed by the British administration in order to control public unrest and root out conspiracy. It authorized the government to imprison for a maximum period of 2 years without trial any person suspected of terrorism living in the Raj. Immediately, protests started all over India to oppose this bill. It was the 13th day of April in 1919, the first day of the new year in Punjab. A traditional New Year celebration was underway in a place called Jallianwala Bagh, a fairground near Amritsar. Men and women with their families were in a festive mood. Suddenly,
but if we riot, if we fight back, we become the vandals and they become the law. If we bear their clothes, they are the vandals. God and His law are on earth. We must have the courage to take their anger.
Should we issue a warning, sir? They've had their warning. No reading, sir.
the news media was censored and the country was under curfew. Finally, the news trickled to Tagore, who was in Shantiniketan. He considered this an ultimate insult to humanity. He rushed to Calcutta and tried to mobilize a protest, but the Congress party and others decided not to cooperate for political reasons. He felt helpless but needed to take a stand. Finally, he chose to proceed alone. He wrote an astoundingly strong letter on May 30, 1919 to the British Viceroy and relinquished his knighthood. Many aspects of the letter are still valid today. For example, Tagore writes, considering that such cruel treatment has been meted out to a population disarmed and resourceless by a power which has the most terribly efficient organization for destruction of human lives, we must strongly assert that it can claim no political expediency, far less moral justification. This act was a blatant assault on human dignity, the ultimate religion of mankind. That is why Rabindranath heeded his heart and acted alone. This is not the only instance. Time and time again, he did so. His song to this effect still continues to inspire every individual who's brave enough to be different, who dares to take a path away from what is mainstream. The song, Akla Chalo Re, will now be presented in Bengali and Hindi. The vocalists are Rahul and Swapna Ray. On the tabla, we have Shubhankar Chaudhary. On the guitar, Kaushik Roy. And Koel Ghoshal on the sitar.
Thank you. সবাই ফিরে যায় উড়ে উড়ে ওই অভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায়
যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায় যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়
তবে পথের কাটা রক্ত মাখা চরণ দলে ডাকলা
In the 1920s, Tagore was at the peak of his artistic output. To his already formidable repertoire of poems, songs, dance dramas, essays, novels, and short stories, he now added yet another dimension, painting. What began as doodle plus soon blossomed into a complete and novel genre of sketches and painting. But music remained his primary outlet of creativity. In a letter to Mrinalini Devi, he admitted, "Composing songs gives me the most satisfaction." We now take a penetrating look at Tagore's music, particularly how he was inspired by Hindustani classical music, but at the same time how he improvised it for his songs and compositions.
Tagore's songs exemplify a rare confluence of poetry with Hindustani classical music. In this segment of this evening's program, the artists demonstrate the structure of classical bass and then transition into specific exposition in a Rabindra Sangeet. It will be observed that the abyss of Hindustani classical music appear in diverse genres, khyal, thumri, or dabba. Sometimes in simplistic exposition, while in other times in a complex form, styled with tan and voltan. As requisitioned by the theme of the song, Tagore doesn't hesitate to use combination of 2 or 3 ragas if necessary. Please allow me to introduce Sagarika Kanjila on vocal, Devjit Bishwas on sharod, Devan Kanjila and Neil Tambulkar on tabla. Anandadhara Boije Bhuvane, the first presentation, belongs to the puja or worship group of songs. The basis is Rag Malkosh, sung in a khyal form.